First and foremost, my sincere thanks to Professor SUHAIMI for wanting to share his experience with us here today. For your information, he is let me stress, the chairman of the UiTM Private Education Sdn Bhd, which at the moment consists of us. So he is our boss in a way. He would be the one who endorses all the policies about INTEC. Yeah, right. SUHAIMI is very close to those who are from UiTM. He's a lecturer, a researcher, a writer, a trainer, motivator, assessor, evaluator, reviewer, and of course an academic administrator. I think he is, and of course he's our former UiTM Deputy Vice Chancellor for the Academic and International. He's the best person to be with us. With the experience that he has, I'm sure he has a lot to listen, but I'm not too sure whether you are ready to absorb. I hope we are ready to absorb and try and understand what he's going to present. The topic is so powerful and overwhelming, and I hope it will help us to meet the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution. For your information, Prof, every month we will meet in the afternoon. We call the session, we used to call the session colloquial, but then it sounded too academic. We called it TED at INTEC. So the purpose of the objective of this is basically to share our research finding, our passion, our experience, our teaching methodologies, and students' problems, anything which we think could benefit, we welcome. And this would include also the administrators at INTEC. So it's an open session, a very relaxing session for us to meet up and see each other. So today's TED at INTEC is very special, and I'm sure we will all learn a lot from our professor. With that, once again, thank you, Prof, and let's have a nice session with him. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Puan Hajah Rozilan Absir. Ladies and gentlemen, Industrial Revolution first started in Great Britain and eventually progressed to the United States in the early 19th century. It was first created to raise people's standards of living, where initially people were making goods or products on their own without machines. Therefore, Industrial Revolution introduces the concept of companies and factories that being able to create goods with the assistance of machinery. There are 4 phases of Industrial Revolution, and now I believe that we are achieving to the 4th phase, which is networking and exchange of information between human and machine. Having said this, education field is not excluded to experience the impact of this revolution. Our speaker for today is none other than our Honorable Chairman, UiTM Private Education Sdn Bhd, Yang Berbahagia Professor Surveyor Insinyur Dr. Haji SUHAIMI Abdul Talib. He had joined UiTM in 1988 and has been involving in teaching courses associated with civil engineering program at UiTM. Apart from having an extensive experience in develop and review of curriculum, he is also active in conducting research, and his research interests are in environmental management, pollution control, water and wastewater engineering, bioremediation, and management of water supply and wastewater services. So now it is my honor to call upon Yang Berbahagia Professor Surveyor Insinyur Dr. Haji SUHAIMI Abdul Talib, who has great experiences in this topic area, to give a talk on the 4th Industrial Revolution and its impacts on higher education. Please put your hands together for Professor
SUHAIMI. And colleagues, especially those familiar faces that were with me at PTP UiTM. So I started my career in UiTM with basically this entity, and this entity has evolved and changed names more times than I changed my shirt, I think. We've been changing names, and then eventually now it has become a private entity. I'm a bit worried when Rosila said that I'm the expert. I'm no expert in any area. Basically, I am still a student and I'm still learning. The thing is that when you are an academician, you do not stop learning. And this idea of fourth industrial revolution came about in February 2016 at the World Economic Forum, and it was put forward by Professor Schwartz from Germany. And this idea is actually came from a very keen observation of what is happening. And what is interesting about the Industrial Revolution is what Kathy mentioned just now, was basically the first Industrial Revolution was started with the invention of the steam engine. The steam engine managed to free human from the energy, from the muscle, because the steam engine can do work now human and horses need not do the work. And then it took, that was about in the 1700s. It took 100 years before we had the second industrial revolution with the invention of electricity. So with the invention of electricity and the increase in network of transport and all that, that freed us from the barriers of distance. We can travel, we can have communications, and the human community became closer, even they are physically far apart. And the third revolution came with the invention of internet and computers, and that allows us to do a lot of automation. And the fourth industrial revolution is basically the era where we are talking about an interface of cyber and physical world. And the power of the computer and networking has increased tremendously, that the first, second, and third industrial revolution is going on a linear manner, 100 years, 100 years, 100 years. Between third to the fourth industrial revolution, we are going at an exponential rate. Exponential rate means that in the short time, the advances will be much higher. A simple illustration is this: somebody who learns in the 18th century a trade, they will be working on that particular trade for their lifetime. Tak payah belajar. There is no need to unlearn and relearn, because the technology does not change that much. When we are in the fourth industrial revolution, we are talking about, a study has indicated that a person in their lifetime would change profession 17 times on the average. My generation, me, I changed 4 jobs in my entire career. I had 4 employers. And the coming generation, you're talking about, on average, 17 times. What is happening is this: the technology is advancing at a rate much faster that whatever that you have learned will become obsolete within 5 to 7 years, within 10 years. And you have to unlearn and relearn new things in order to survive in this industry. And what worries me is this: the rate of change, the pace of change in the industry, the technology and all that is occurring much faster than the university can change the curriculum. So if we do not change the way we do things, we do not upgrade ourselves, we do not ourselves progress with technology, then we are not going to do justice to the future workforce. This is the challenge. Okay. And when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, you're talking about interface of human and machine. There even talks that you've got to get adapted to a situation where you work with machines. You have to work with machines. Okay. Let's go into my framework of presentation. I'll give some introduction. Sorry, tak pernah dengar bunyi macam ni. Machine. Siri is playing out. Kenal Siri? So she's playing out. I'll talk about the 21st century skill sets. what is needed for the 21st century? Basically, in the fourth industrial revolution, you need to be literate in 3 areas. You must have data literacy, you must have technological literacy, and you must have human literacy. So these 3 areas. Basically, these 3 areas we will look at the skill sets. We translate them into other relevant skill sets that is needed. When I say skill sets, these are the outcomes. When you talk about outcome-based education, these are the outcomes. And when we know these are the outcomes, then we have to devise the curriculum. We have to find suitable contents and suitable teaching and learning activities so that students can acquire the skill sets. We are no longer in the business of just giving out content, presenting content. That is simply not enough. The universities of the old days, they call it universities, and they started at where? At places like monasteries, churches, madrasah. Why? Because these are places where reading materials are kept, manuscripts are kept, and these are places where people who can read and write are gathered. So if you want to learn, you have to go to that place, and that is where you acquire content. But now, content is no longer kept at the university. Content is kept up there in the clouds, and you can have access. You can have access to the content through your smartphone. So learning can be done anywhere. Content can be obtained anywhere. What is missing is how do you put value, or how do you put context to the content. So teaching now mainly should focus on how do we put context to content, how do we put value to content, not just giving out content. I was back at my faculty about last year. I should have said a few months back. Last year, and there were students sitting, banquet chairs been arranged, banquet chairs like that, outside the meeting room. There were a number of students. I was asking them, what are you guys doing here? And they said, we're just waiting our turn to go in for the Tata Tertib hearing. So I asked them, what have you done? We didn't go to class. And my faculty is good at this. Students don't go to class, they take up action, they find one day 50 ringgit. Can you imagine how much money we make on our tabung mana? So we collect money from the students to tabung mana so that lecturers want to go overseas, there is money. Don't quote me on that. And I asked them, why did you not go to class? And one of them was blunt enough to tell me point blank, what is the purpose of going to the class when the lecturer only reads from the PowerPoint? We can get better PowerPoint from the internet. Now, keep on reading from your PowerPoint, delivering PowerPoint, and you'll find yourself alone in the classroom. So we have to change. You have to develop your content to capture their interest. It must be interesting. They want to come to your class because the quality of the PowerPoint is no less than Mission Impossible 5, the Rogue Nation, of that quality. Then you can attract their attention. Okay? So we have to upgrade our delivery methods so that they can come, and then we can help them to acquire the skill sets of the 21st century. Then I'll talk a little bit about the characteristics of the 21st century learner. They are completely different. Yeah? And then the transformation for future education, what we need to do. And then I will introduce the flexible curriculum. And then some concluding remarks. So, fortunate or unfortunate? Mark Twain kata, this is the best of time, this is the worst of time. So, I think this is a fortunate time that we live in this era of rapid change. It provides us a challenge, and then it will not make you stop thinking. It would always keep you, thinking of how to improve and how to progress ahead. Because we have these things that are happening, things like globalization. Globalization, you talk about the ASEAN Economic Community, free market. And when you talk about having this sort of free market and all that, what do our students need? Do they need to have 4.0 GPA? Do they need to have 5 A's, 7 A's, 12 A's? when you talk about globalization, it is not the content, it is the character. The students must learn to acquire two important skills: tolerance and mutual respect. Because under globalization, you will be working in a condition where your colleagues will come from different countries, your colleagues have different beliefs, different cultures, speak different languages. And we are not prepared for this. I have been to many ASEAN countries. I go to Vietnam, they say you're from Malaysia, they speak Malay to me. Don't worry about the dialect. But it is understandable. They can communicate with you in our language. Thailand tu such cerita lah. You go to Thailand, southern Thailand, if you're from Malaysia, they speak Malay with you. Logat Kelantan pun ada lah. And Indonesia is already there, Singapore isn't it? I go to Bangladesh, they speak Malay with me. I just came back from Bangladesh 1.5 months ago. They speak Malay with me. Because some of the professors, they were teaching here in UTM for 3-4 years, and then they go back to Bangladesh. And the thing is that, when foreigners come to our country, can we speak their language? How many of you speak with our colleagues from Korea in Korea? You expect her to learn Malay. Betul tak? This is something that when we talk about the ASEAN economic community, the ASEAN community in Malaysia, I don't feel that excitement. If you go to any ASEAN countries, they are excited for this to happen. So this is something we got to prepare our students for. Two things: mutual respect and tolerance. So how do you teach that? You teach that by giving them activities, learning, put a case that is of conflict, different opinion. And what we got to train them is, you can criticize the opinion. The way you criticize is very important. Criticize the idea, not the person. So these are the things we have to tell them, that if you want to put forward your idea, you put it in a nice and polite manner. Otherwise, you are going to create more friction rather than moving forward. So that is important for globalization. The skill set needed is basically tolerance and mutual respect. And then the global economic crisis of 88, the global economic crisis of 98. What have we learned from this? By right, when the economic crisis occurred, we would have realized that our students need to be adaptable and flexible. We did not change our curriculum in 88, nor did we change our curriculum in 1998. We were happy because we get paid. Irrespective of what happens out there, we get paid. So there is no need. I was guilty as hell. I was involved in the developing curriculum right from the early 90s. In 98, when this happened, we did not even have this idea of, let us review our curriculum and let us make sure that the civil engineers that we produce, in case that there is a recession, they can always go into other professions. That did not occur. That did not cross our mind. So now, after 28 years of service with UiTM, I say that if this thing is happening, if we do nothing, then we are guilty. Tunggulah hari masyarakat jawab yang tepat. So we have to do something. Anu start tadi. Start. Ingat dia orang selalu tell them, if you don't do this, you are answerable on the day of judgment. Learn a few languages for that particular phrase. Ulang 3 kali, satu bahasa Melayu, bahasa orang putih, bahasa Perancis. So ada siapa yang tak faham bahasa tu, dia boleh faham. Because we are responsible, we are accountable. Whether you like it or not, the minute you take up this position, you are taking up accountability, amanah. And then we talk about the new generation of learners, digital natives. Nak tahu digital natives? From here I can see who are the digital natives. Ini digital immigrant. She is fighting macam tu. Dia ada handphone. Handphone ada. Jenis apa? 3 handphone. She has 3 handphone. Smartphones. The phones are smart. Not the person. You see? And then when you see tables, when you see diagram, the digital immigrants, what do? They copy furiously. The digital natives, they ambil. Nah. Ha? Tak buat apa-apa. Dia ada photographic mind. Okay, then we got to talk about big data analytics and industry 4.0. Now, big data analytics is something that is coming, you can't avoid it. Things are getting more complex, but fortunately technology, the machines can now handle big data. We used to teach engineering, we take a problem, we simplify the problem in order for us to solve using the tools that we have. But now the tools are more advanced. So we do not simplify them anymore. So we take the problems, the situation as complex as they are. We put a lot of data in there. Our students must be able to handle data-rich system. A system that has a lot of data, they must be able to handle. So tak boleh dah simplify to help them. So another is this: you are preparing them for their life. In their time, they will be inundated with data. I am from water engineering, so we say what? Water, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. In future, it's going to be data, data, data everywhere, but not a thought to think. So kena ajar dia orang, so that they will be able to look at data, they must be able to analyze, they must be able to interpret. Once they interpret, they must be able to put to use, to good use of that information with wisdom. With wisdom. Itu tadi saya kata, human literacy and wisdom must be there. Okay. And then we talk about emerging vocation and graduate employability. Right. Homework. Homework. Kena baca. Now, go to your handphones, type an avalanche is coming. Ada tak? An avalanche is coming. Ada. She has no doubt. La raiba fi. Tidak ada keraguan. Ada, dia tahu. Ada? You find it? Michael Baba? Betul. PDF kan? PDF means what? Boleh download. It doesn't stop with download. You have to read. What's the first verse of the Quran? Iqra. So, no point downloading if you don't read it. You have to read. Kalau tidak, ayat tu dia bunyi, right click lah kamu wahai Muhammad. Download lah kamu wahai Muhammad. So today I'm telling you, downloading and reading are two very different activities. You are to read this article, and then you will realize the changes that they mentioned in this particular book, which was published in 2013, you can see them happening already. It is happening. Yeah. And then the other one is University of the Future, Ernst & Young. They capture the ideas, the vision of various past chancellors to see what will education looks like in the future. And most of this is already happening. Again, if you type this, you'll find a PDF file. And finally, the end of the university as we know it, Nathan Hudden. This is about a 4-page article, 3 to 4-page article, which you can read definitely before the sun sets today. The other two articles find some of the time, but this article definitely before the sun sets today, you should be able to read them. Boleh? Boleh? Janji? Boleh berbangang dengan saya? Janji ya sebelum matahari terbenam? Oh, tak boleh. Tak berani. Alright. Now, from these 3 articles, okay, this is what I summarize. We talk about ubiquitous learning. Ubiquitous learning meaning that learning can take place anywhere, anytime, by anyone. So in other words, they do not rely on us as the instructor for the content. We facilitate. The best thing to do is let them have the articles, read. When they come to class 50 minutes, that is when you do the discussion with classroom. Okay? And you must be prepared, and you must be widely read. Because students will ask you questions that they come across, and you must be widely read, you must be up to date on the current affairs. If they ask you questions and you do not know that, you look it up together with them. You got to go into the classroom, be prepared with this. When you don't know, you show them what you do when you don't know. You look it up, sama-sama, together. And then you teach them, this is how your lifelong learning is going to be. When you are in doubt, when you're not certain, sit, summarize. Once you have those points, find somebody to discuss. That is how we're going to teach them. You see, looking at all this, I say this, if my students at the end of the day, if they can acquire 3 things, I will be happy. If they have problems, they do not know what to do, if they know where to go, whom to see, what to ask. You want to know about flooding? Dia pergi JPS, jumpa jurutera JPS, tanya soalan dekat dia. What questions to ask? So if you can teach your students these 3 things, the habit become enculturized in them, then you have done the job. You cannot allow them to leave this place whenever they do not know anything, they tunggu to be spoon fed, bottle fed, or breastfed. So we got to make them independent. And then we have the other things, that declining value of the degree. Rosilla dulu lepas dah graduate, when you graduated, how long did you wait for job?
Masa tu, after 88 was
88. But how long did you have to wait? 5 months. Sini? 7 months. I came back, I didn't have to wait. 88. Siapa lagi yang sini? Mana? Tak mampu dah. Semua muda. How long did you have to wait? Same like you. Those people who graduated in the 80s, when they come back, the value of the degree was, very high. Immediately, it can get you a job. And those days, you don't have to pay for your education. Now, you have a degree, but you cannot get a job. And yet you have to pay for your PTPTN or whatever, because there's no more scholarship. So when they say that the declining value of the degree, and they put a value to it, they say the value of the degree has declined by 17%. The cost of education has escalated more than 30%. It costs more to go to university, but the value of the degree is getting less and less. Now, if this is happening, would people want to come to university? Unless you are giving them an education and a degree that is selling like hot goreng pisang. Laku degree, industry wants it. Now that is one. The other thing is that they are saying, in future, industries may award degree. They are saying industries may award degree. For example, if Motorola offers a program, Bachelor in Electronics Engineering, you finish, confirm you will get job. Students will go to Motorola, or they will go to UTM, USM, UM. Motorola. What is stopping Motorola from doing that? What is stopping? MQA. MQA. How was MQA born? How was MQA born? No. MQA was born through Parliament, an Act of Parliament. So it is the Parliament, it is by law that only universities can confer degree. So that is the reason why students must come to the university if they want to get a degree. So if that law changes and say that industries can confer degree, you have nothing to do. You will have nothing to do. Okay? Now, What is interesting is this. They foresee that in future industry will be allowed to confer degree. But what is happening right now, it is not exactly industry is conferring degrees. Industry is now offering badges. You follow certain modules, you get a badge. You follow, and these badges are actually certification. In future, would you be able to trust somebody who has certification or somebody who has degree to do a job? This is already happening. You follow module 1, you get one badge. You follow module 2, you get another badge. And at the end of the day, you collect these badges, they are equivalent to degree. In fact, they are much better than degree. So this is the challenge, this is the impact. If we don't wake up now, saya tak apa dah nak bersara dah. I'm okay. I think I have lived in UiTM 28 years and I've contributed enough. It's about time for me to take a rest. I can now leave the kapal besar tu dipanggil apa? Aircraft carrier. I can leave the aircraft carrier, go on the lifeboat, mendayung ke pelabuhan cinta sejati. Now kita balik ke pangkuan keluarga habis cinta. Don't you think it's a nice way of life? Pagi kalau ada kerja, free. Kalau tak ada kerja, petang INTEC panggil datang tau. Kalau tak ada, duduk kat rumah. I can afford to have lazy afternoons. You think I just have lazy afternoons in the house? I'll share with you what I do. One of the things that worries me in this country is itu 1.0 punya industri tu. You should have your card kita tu swipe aja attendance. We talk about fourth industrial revolution. You are still behaving 1.0.
You don't have any ID card.
Finger pointing like industry 0.0. Okay, what I do now, because it worries me to see that early childhood development is not being given enough emphasis in this country. So now what I do is I read a lot and I am designing modules for 4-year-olds to 7-year-olds. My daughter has a Tarikh, apa benda dia panggil? Al-Iman. That is chain of Tarikh. It's a franchise. So I think that I would like to focus my life now on helping develop modules to bring up these kids in this new era of technology. I have done enough for UiTM. So it's about time I focus on this. So that is one of the things, apart from looking after my old age parents, this is the other thing that I devote my life. Okay. We also talk about World University ranking. INTEC, dia tak masuk World Intern, you are into my quest. So some sort of ranking, because they will tell whether you are good or not. So you got to balance that. One thing, you got to build up your students. Next, you want to make sure that you become a reputable institution. And then you talk of Internet of Things. Internet of Things, if I can share with you a little bit.
Take it away.
team's been working on this for a good 3-4 weeks.
Hey Nate, the designs look great. What's the next step?
Can you forward the message to the group? And schedule a video conference, thanks.
Fly, Betty, fly. When Betty stretches her wings, she is beautiful and smart. And she likes to play in the sunscreen and flutter in the breeze. When Betty stretches her wings, she is beautiful and smart. Oh, do you see that?
Yeah.
Put your hand up, see full on her hand.
Cool. Oh,
See that cool?
Okay, so Internet of Things. You think this is not happening? It should have happened. And you are still with your Nokia 3310. Okay, so the future of education and literacy, if you look at this, basically things are changing, and we cannot keep on doing work business as usual. So we have to change as well. Otherwise, then you will be the net of the 2.0, not net 4.0. Okay, industry 4.0, we talk about big data. These are the ones for Internet of Things, disruptive technology, and so on. Okay, and if you look at the disruptive technology, it is coming in now. You look at what we have there, largest taxi company, they don't even own a single vehicle. And what's happening to the taxis? Demonstration. They wait for demonstration, they protest and all that. It will not help. This is happening. And we talk about what? Facebook. They don't provide the content. The users provide the content. You remember George Orwell? George Orwell actually predicted that in future, Big Brother will be watching. We will be afraid that anything that we do, somebody is watching. It is happening now. The Big Brother doesn't watch. We take our own picture and we upload. We tell everybody what we are doing. So I am a bit worried now. You know why? Everywhere I go, somebody will take a picture, and I'm still in that location. They have already sent the pictures out to various groups, and people know where I am. The last time when Dato' VC was here, in the morning, I was in Malacca. So, finished my event in Malacca, I rushed back because Dato' was going to be here in this campus. And Dato' came out of his car and said, "Hey, I thought you were in Malacca this morning." So he knew I was in Malacca. And I thought, keep it quiet, rush back so that he doesn't know, as if I was there. So we're talking about, this is already happening. So kalau ada keraguan, Tuhan tahu apa benda kita buat tu, teknologi Tuhan lagi macam tu. So manusia boleh buat, Tuhan lagi tu. And you talk about Netflix, cinema show without any cinema. They don't even have any cinema. And one thing is not here is Google. University Google. It's going to be the biggest university without any premise. Why would not datang university? Because if learning can take place online, then they will become the biggest university without owning a single campus. So we are no longer in a position to say that we are the biggest university, 36 campuses. Itu bunyi orang bodoh dah. No, you don't want to say that anymore. Because here, they are not talking about assets. They are talking about access. Boleh dengarkan kalau saya tak ada mikrofon? Better. Oh, you recording. Then I have to be more careful on what I say. Okay? So basically we're talking about what? We're talking about accessibility. It doesn't matter that you do not have the physical facilities, never mind. But students have access to it. Yeah? Library used to be what? When we go and do accreditation, we ask, what is the seating capacity? How many chairs you have? How many books you have? Nowadays we just ask database, accessibility, whether the students can only have access on campus or anywhere. So we're talking about they need not have the books as long as they have access to the book. Right? And as long as they have access to it. So this is already happening. 4.0 is already happening now. And disruptive technology is coming into higher education. What is that? Campus Wi-Fi makes learning possible anywhere. Dulu tak ada, semua LAN connection. If they want internet, they have to go to one place. Now, is the whole campus Wi-Fi? Section 17? Not yet. We must move into that direction. So that you can have access to network everywhere. And we can do away with computer labs. Do away with computer labs. Social media. Now, students, the younger generations, they are very well versed with that. You take away the social media from them as if you're taking away air for them to breathe. So, learning must also take place on the social media. So, we must adapt. Rosila, account Instagram ada? Tengok Instagram? Tengok tu. Okay. Then we talk about digital badges, as I mentioned just now. This big data analytics, they give you badges. You complete this badge, then you are a certified different level. Data miner ke, data analysis ke, data scientist ke. So at that level. So you're talking about it's as good as having a degree. As good as having a degree. And then the analytics is coming, Google Glass and wearables. Kita biasanya dengar, we hear about handphone hands-free. Now Google has come up with this glass, you can actually see your computer, you know. Nak kata hands-free juga, tak tahu. But basically all these things are now being used. I was in Ohio. Pagi kita pakai ada apa benda tu? VR. And you can visit museum and then you look around, semua 3D, and you look down, you can even see your feet. As real as that. And I go into space and I write and I can go through my own writing. And the beauty of what they showed me is that it doesn't cost a lot. They make use of something that cost them only about 30 to 60 USD. Our problem here, the minute I tell the faculty, can you find something to do like this? They will find the high end. It makes it so expensive that we cannot afford. They come up with a board, computer board, that cost them about $20 US. They put it on any computer. They take it to remote areas where you do not have internet. They teach students how to use internet. Google, Wikipedia is all stored there, limited. Email, so they can teach email functions and all that. I was thinking, you're talking about 20 USD, sekarang RM8, 100 ringgit. Why can't we take that and go to the remote areas of Sabah and Sarawak and teach them how to use internet? You talk about everything now must apply online, must apply. There are areas in this country, pockets of areas in these countries, line pun tak ada. There is not even connection. So, but we have to teach them how to use this. So these are the things that they are coming in, and we should be using it. Drones. So now you can teach building civil engineering. Tunjuk drone naik tengok atas bumbung macam mana. you can actually go to places that is not physically possible. 3D printing. You can actually, a house has been built entirely using 3D printer. The components have been printed out using 3D printer and then assembled as a house. Digital courseware, small private online courses. Kita dengan MOOCs. Now you have this small private online courses. And Adam Remo kata apa? Adam Remo says that education will not be free. You only pay for certification. I can learn how to bake cakes. I can learn how to do this. I can learn how to play music and all that online, free. No need to pay. But if I want the badges, I want certification, I only pay for that. So education will be free. And then of course you have virtual reality, and all this leads to the unbundling of higher education. They dismantle higher education bit by bit, and then we got to go on the basis of modularity, and you have to compete with new providers, and technological care is becoming important, computer-based training is becoming important, digital badges is also becoming important. So the short courses start giving out physical certificate. We got to move into that. We got to move into issuing digital badges. Okay, let's go into the 21st century skill set. I'm not sure how this turns out. Boleh baca tak? Now, the big circles, these are what we call the drivers. The drivers that is causing things to, calling for new skill set. Number one is extreme longevity, because the age is increasing. We live longer. In this country in particular, we have improved on childcare, but not geriatric care for the aged, for the old people. So this is one area that we may need to focus. Computational world, there is massive increase in census data coming in. You can collect a lot of data. And then you have superstructured organization, you have globally connected world, you have new media ecology, and rise of smart machines and systems. Machines capable of making decisions, routine decisions. And because of these changes that is driving, now you need skill sets such as people that has transdisciplinary knowledge. No longer enough for you to learn areas of your discipline. It has to be multidiscipline, transdiscipline. The degree that you have acquired is a testimony that you have acquired lifelong learning. So, kena belajar bidang lain. So what I'm doing, I'm learning training, I'm learning other disciplines because of that. I was trained as a civil engineer, but now I train myself as a quality assurance person. So I read and learn, discuss with others, put to practice, work together with the group so that they can tell me what I did is right or wrong. You work in that manner until eventually you can become the reference person. People will refer to you. But if you are satisfied with what you are now, nanti you dah pencen, dah beruban semua kan, you duduk macam tu juga. So you want to be able to progress with your career to the level that you become somebody who has made change, somebody who has instituted change. Design mindset. You must have design mindset. Virtual collaboration, working with people in other countries. That is collaboration. I initiated UiTM Holding, normally fully owned subsidiary. INTEC, Education Sdn Bhd, fully owned subsidiary. All the other companies are fully owned subsidiary, but I managed to set up one company joint venture with a company in Ireland, Akari. So that is basically when we have board of directors meeting, teleconferencing. virtual collaboration. So things like that is happening. And when you do this, you must have a sense of sense making another. I work with people in Japan, I work with people in Germany. So I wake up in the morning, I look at the email, my colleagues from Japan is asking for a response, my colleagues from Germany are asking for a response. Who do I respond first? Japan, because they are already up and working. So I address them first. My German colleagues are still sleeping. So once I address, I do my work. By 11 o'clock, I look at what my German counterpart is asking. And by lunchtime, I send, they are just about waking up. So this is how it's going to be. And you got to prepare your students for that. Cross-cultural competency. Remember I said mutual respect and tolerance. Cognitive load management. There are so many things that you require decision. Some of them can be delegated, some of them is routine. You boleh buat apps. You can do apps. We were having lunch hari tu. What did I tell Yamin to do? Apps for booking transport. Now we book transport online, almost 3.0 online. Then after that, you got to keep calling Adil ke transport, Adil ke transport. Then you are back. Feedback is back to 1.0. So why can't you design a simple apps so that all I need to do, go to the app, I put in my staff number 111232, and then draw. Okay, your driver is this, his handphone number, this is the car. Picking up point is here. So that's it. I don't have to call. Because they have to have that information in their system, in the office anyway. So just turn it into apps. You know why this is not happening? Because those people manning the office, managing the process, they are not app savvy people. They are about my age and your age. Your age lah yang seorang tu yang lain tak lah. Because the younger generation will have simply change that to a simple apps. So this must be done. New media literacy, social intelligence, apa lagi ni? Novel and adaptive thinking. So you must think out of the box. Got to find ways and means to think out of the box. So the first thing to do, throw away the box. And why keep the box? You see, throw away the box. Okay. Partnership 21. Again, if you type, you have this document. It's a very long report. Interesting to read. So you may want to download and find time to read. Yang tadi, compulsory reading. Yang ini, if you have time, you may want to look it up. Interesting study, and they were looking at what are the skill sets needed in the 21st century. So the 21st century, they say that it will center around this theme, global awareness. You can no longer have a student coming from Kuala Pilah knowing only things in Kuala Pilah. Tanjung Ipoh, Ulu Bendul. No, it has to be global awareness. They must know. I was saying that when we mention the word Fukushima, what comes to mind? Nuclear. Kalau you kata Japan pun is good enough. When I say Fukushima, then she says Spain. Then habislah. So the global awareness, when I say Fukushima, you say nuclear reactor, earthquake, tsunami. Okay, fine. At least you know what is happening. Okay? And then you talk about civic, living in society, financial awareness, and health awareness. So this will be the theme of the 21st century. Learning and innovation, I call this the 4 C's. The 4 C's basically critical thinking, creative thinking, communication, and collaboration. So these are the skill sets that we are talking about that must be embedded in our curriculum. Our students must have critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Siapa boleh jawab? Anyone? Asma, siapa Asma? Mana? Huh? Why are they pointing to yours, ma? Huh? You are teaching critical thinking. You're not. No, she's not teaching critical thinking. See? Mr. Sham. Now, Mr. Sham, if I give you 1 minute, now, among this audience, can you screen out those who have critical thinking and those who do not have critical thinking? Boleh? 1 minute.
1 minute. Just now you asked for definition.
Okay, definition, okay, fine. What is definition?
To my understanding, critical thinking is about how you make a judgment, how you think based on what is valid, what is logical, and that has to be supported with very sound arguments.
So what is valid? What is that is critical thinking? I think that is rational thinking. When you support and all that. In 1 minute, I can distinguish in this group siapa ada critical thinking, siapa tak ada. I go into my class. In 1 minute, I can do that. Tell me 20 things that is wrong with this. It's a pen. Tell me, list down 20 things that is not right with this. 20 things that you can improve. What? Okay, 10 things. I am in a generous mood today. I'm giving you 50% discount, you see? See, critical thinking is your ability to look at something and say, hey, I can improve that. Hey, something is wrong. If you do not have critical thinking, you say, you will take it as it is. Tak apalah, gunalah, business as usual. You see? So how are we to teach critical thinking when you do not know what critical thinking looks like? It is just like I ask, go into the field and get me apples. You do not know what apples look like, can you bring me apple? Kau bawa balik petola ke aku kan?
In other words, what you're saying is that we should be able to think beyond.
Maknanya we look at things, we say that this needs improving. That's why they say American kata apa? If it is ain't broken, don't fix it. The Japanese says what? This is perfect. How can we make it better? This is perfect. How can we make it better? And that's why the Japanese economy can overshoot the American economy in such a short span of 30 years after the Second World War. So we need critical thinking. We need critical thinking. And we need creativity, innovation, communication and collaboration. You must be able to articulate your ideas. You must be able to do that. And of course, collaboration doesn't mean that physical collaboration. It has to be virtual collaboration as well. So Yani, this to me is the skill sets. We have to embed, we have to deliver, we have to prepare our students. For the life and career, we got to prepare them for flexibility, adaptability. Itu tadi when there is economic crisis, when there is recession, dia tak tunggu minta welfare. They can do something else. They can always do something else. Then they must have initiative, self-direction, social skills, accountability, leadership, responsibility. So these are basically what they need for their life. Ini more for the discipline, and this one they mesti ada. You cannot be illiterate in ICT these days. I am semi-illiterate. Seriously, there are things that still I do not know how to do. We were looking at the Setara results. Of course, the professors are about my age. We are trying to make sense of what the results are showing. And then we said, is it possible that Excel to do this, Then this guy's just graduate, dia baru graduate. Ni baru kena boleh buat. Boleh buat dia Excel boleh buat. And these are professors whispering, you know. So unfortunate, we are semi-literate. In terms of data, in terms of technology, those people above 50. PowerPoint ni pun. I think I can only use 10 to 15% of dia punya apa, the whole features. Even the handphone, I cannot use all. You give me 3310, that is good enough for me. You know, seriously, I only had a smartphone in 2012, 2013. I was using my Nokia 3310. You know why? Because Nokia 3310 has a very special function. It has a homing device. If you lose it, it will come back to you. Seriously, one evening at night, I was going back and it dropped from my pocket in the parking lot. I went home. Next morning, by 10 o'clock, it came back to the office. Because somebody picked it up and there was an incoming call, and that the student knew that this belonged to Prof. SUHAIMI, and he sends it back to the office. Why? No second-hand value. You cannot sell. So if you give back, the chances of getting reward might be there. You stand the chance of collecting a reward. If I drop my handphone, gone case, it will not come back. You know, if iPhone, gone case. If you don't drop it, so you just leave it there, you forget that it's gone. It's gone. It won't come back. You trace it. I do not know how to use the function. That's the problem. So I should have stick to my Nokia. Okay. So this is the if you ask me how I developed the framework for UITM curriculum, it is this. I based on this article. Not article, it's a report. So dia ada dalam bentuk periodic table. Ada chemistry ni orang sini? Ada. So we do periodic table. So you're talking about critical thinking, you're talking about creative thinking, collaboration, communication. We need to add 2 more: citizenship, to be a worthy member of society, and you need to have decent character. So this would be kita punya skill set needed to produce our students for the 21st century. Yeah. Nombor apa? Ini orang computer science tanya. This is the atomic weight. Now, see, this is the atomic weight. I wanted to send an email asking them whether this is the relative importance of those characteristics. I didn't have time to do it. You may want to email them and then ask them, what do this weight represent? Do that and then let me know. So these are the skill sets needed. The 21st century learner. Now, content is everywhere. What is important is that what can the students do with the content? So, they are born with that. My grandson, 3 tahun, dia boleh cari. See, he knows what to do. Atuk dia, satu. So, this type of the next generation that is coming up, then it's going to be a challenge creating a curriculum for them. Dia daripada kecil dah main iPhone. Kita iPhone tu pegang, takut jatuh kan. And they just hold it, pergi sana, pergi sini. This is the generation that we're dealing with. Dia tak tahu value. Okay, if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Then we got to make use of all this untuk dia belajar. Seriously, they learn more from YouTube than from your classes.
Yes.
Now that I am on leave prior to my retirement, I got time to look at YouTube. I wanted to register my tabung haji punya account to Maybank. I went to Maybank website. All the menu, since I have time, all the menu open, tak jumpa. It is not there. Mana nak buat? How would I do? I go to YouTube, how to register tabung haji to Maybank to you. And ada video dia keluar, satu-satu dia tunjuk. This can only be done at the ATM machine. It cannot be done on the website. Aku tahu. And I spent that whole evening scouring through every single menu, sub-menu in the Maybank punya website. Now I know where to get my statement. I know everywhere. Dulu bayar bill. Tengok, I go to Maybank to you. The only thing I know what to do is, what is my balance? Transaction history, bayar. Ada satu lagi, transfer. Transfer. Favorite to my daughters. Apart from that, I don't know. So now I'm a bit more knowledgeable to navigate myself in the Maybank website. So YouTube is there. So maybe we got to start using this more. Yeah? Maybe we got to start using this more. Ni kejap lagi kalau saya nak tunjuk video, nak kena ada orang datang tolong balik ke tak? Tak payah. Escape. Gelap terus. Boleh? Nampak? So how do we teach? Kita tengok video sikit. Boring tengok Prof Haimi je. Esok Prof Haimi ajar dalam kelas macam ni. Dia ajar bridge design. Okey, boleh jadi mengajar macam tu?
InsyaAllah, insyaAllah.
So what I'm saying is this: if the students learn in that manner, we must be competent to teach in that way. If we maintain business as usual, then we are out of match, out of sync. Ada satu cara je jalan keluar dia. Isi 8 set borang untuk bersara awal. Okay? Old learners, text. New learners, visual. They see. They hands-on. Personal. They personalize. They want to do what they want to do. We are talking about in future, they come in, they select the courses, and then after selection, we will determine what degree to give. Now they come in, you want to do this, you must do all this, whether you like it or not. So we have to be more personal. And of course, if the classroom is possible, we have to make it more personal for them. Kita dulu, this is me, technophobic. These people are techno-savvy. You go and buy things at the supermarket, electrical goods. You tanya, itu manual mana? Itu manual. No more manual. All the things just you download, you read. And I see my children, they buy things electrical. They don't even refer to anything. They cucuk, they just turn on. My days, manual. Ini masuk satu. Next one. Then done. Check again before we turn on. They are not afraid of making mistake. They are not afraid of making mistake. This new generation. Interactive, collaborative. So that's why if you teach them the way I'm teaching, they will be bored. It has to be interactive. Macam tadi video tadi kan, they do something, they see, they can experiment, or they need this component, they sketch it, translated into the structural component. You print out 3D printer, they fix it, and then they test it. Before that, when they have the elements, they tested simulation. Then they actually build it, and then they see whether the structure stands or not. Okay. Learners are seeking for inspiration more than information. Okay? If they are inspired with the right tools, they will learn autonomously. So we do not want to keep them dependent on us. The future education, you tengok, science is moving at 100 kilometers per hour, 10 times faster than education. Politik tu salah, tak berubah. Can you imagine from here to here? Our classrooms masih lagi susun semua tengok sini. We have not changed. We have not made much progress. Now they're talking about learning spaces, redesigning macam ni. They learn from each other rather learning from the teacher. Kalau tak percaya, cuba tengok dekat telefon BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, University Without Teachers. Bateri habis. Digital native dia ada power bank dia. Ada. No tuition fee. Learning from learners. There's a French university, University 42, opening up a branch in California. They have no teachers. They only have learning activities. So the teacher's responsibility is designing the learning activities, designing the project. And the teachers do not go into the classroom. They learn from each other. Because If the teacher goes into the classroom, focus will be on the teacher. The focus is not on the activity. They learn. And even assessment, they do on their own. Lecturers do not give marks. The students give marks. Macam mana dia buat? They look at the projects, then they rank the project among themselves. Why this is better than this? Why this is better than this? And then when they graduate, they work with IBM, they work with Microsoft, company yang besar-besar, bukan cekai. And the employers are saying what? This is one of the best batches we ever had. And what was the secret? The secret is you remove the biggest barrier to learning, the teachers. Yes. Because if the teacher is here, then siapa menganggap? Prof Suhaimi, Tini, Prof Suhaimi, Rosila, semua tanya Prof Suhaimi as if he is the expert. But the minute Prof Suhaimi is not here, he lock the room, leave you all in here, then you start asking each other. You start learning from each other. Then you realize there's more than one person you can consult. And that is what we got to teach them. There are thousands of people in their discipline around the world that they can share and they can consult. We do not teach them to be dependent on us. Okay, classroom. Classroom A, teacher knows everything. Teacher as a learner, we learn together with them. Classroom A, mistake is bad. Now, mistakes is learning. So we got to tell them, fine, making mistake is fine, but what have you learned from that mistake? That is the wisdom that we got to teach the students. Teacher questions. Now, kids question. Dulu, kids listen. Now we want them to design the activities so that they start thinking. Memorize facts, no more. Solve problems. Finishing the syllabus, no more. Now we want them to create the content. They themselves can share among themselves. One size fits all. One size fits each. Each of them is individual. They have individual preference. Rules are enforced, rules are unnecessary. So this is our reference. Any other reference to benspired.com. You can read further from there. Okay. Transformation in learning. We move from learner-centered to personalized learning. Dulu kita apa? Mass, and then learner-centered. Now in future it has to be personalized. Student as producers, student created media. Student will produce the content. We give them the framework. They create, they assess with our guidance. Authentic learning, real problems, complex problems, data-rich systems. We got to take on board 4th Industrial Revolution and digital technology, big data analysis. Doesn't mean that you have to restructure the whole curriculum. You don't have to wait for that to happen. Your own courses now, you have to rethink of the assignments, giving them your methodology of delivering the group work that you design. It can be done without changing the curriculum, without changing the syllabus. Use the existing content. Cuma methodology dia saja kena ubah. Now you have to think how to be creative. My experience, some of them will say, susah lah Prof. It's difficult to think how. Tak boleh, tak terfikir, tak boleh, nak beranak tu tak boleh beranak. Tak boleh, dah usuk. Then to these people I say this. It is my sad duty to inform you that you have reached a stage of your career that I term as academic menopause. You are no longer productive. You tak dipikir, you cannot be creative. Dah tak produktif lagi dah. Itu tak ada balik lagi gambar tu tak sampai mana dah. Go global, languages and culture. Berapa ramai sini ajar English? No one teaches English. Ha? Oh, siapa lagi you punya kawan-kawan aja? Angkat tangan. Those teaching English. Oh, takut. Okay. Now, when you teach English, what is your content? Critical thinking. What is your content? So my suggestion is this, because you are talking about languages, culture. I'm not saying that when you teach languages, you teach the foreign language. Foreign language is another aspect of languages. But what I'm saying is, the Go Global and language, you've got to look at the Sustainable Development Goal, renewable energy, gender equality, poverty eradication. Use that as the content. So while you are teaching English, you are making them aware of the global issues. Janganlah buat macam ada student datang jumpa saya dulu. This was 15 years ago. I was at the faculty, sitting in my room doing my work, and this group of students, 3 students, perempuan semua, 3 orang, all 3 girls, they came. Doctor, are you free? We are doing our assignment for English. We need to interview some of the staff. I was doing something very important, but since they say that they are doing their assignment, I said, okay, fine, come in. I put aside my work, and they sat down. They are doing this assignment for English. And I asked them the title. What is the title? You tahu tak title dia apa? Married Man Having Affair. I mean, is that pasted on my forehead or what? I asked, who is your lecturer? And I really blew my top with the English department, masa tu. I kata, how can you be doing this to the students? Why can't you know these are civil engineering students? Why can't you give them topic on environment, topic on the increase of petrol prices and all this? Of all the things you, and they come to me and ask, we want to ask you about it. Janganlah. It was pure bad luck. I was in the room. Okay? And connect and collaborate if possible, and then innovate and keep learning. So basically, we need to prepare students for the future in which they live and work. In which they live and work. So teaching 4.0, we're talking about this. I said UITM should provide students with experience of, I have to read from here. UITM should provide students with experience of working with complex problems and data-rich systems under an environment where students are not only the recipient of knowledge but are challenged to create and apply knowledge. So basically, this is the theme that we have to go. Digital gap, students are digital native, some of the lecturers are digital immigrant. Digital immigrant ni tahu macam mana? I send an email. Then I call up Tini. Tini, I send you email, cuba you check. Itu tanda-tanda digital immigrant. Konon-konon dia. Kalau digital native dia dah send, dia boleh tahu sampai tak sampai pukul berapa dia buka, pukul berapa dia baca. Pernah berlaku macam tu? Dan lagi satu, bawa tu keluar daripada bilik tu, datang bilik kita, buka kat desktop kita nak tunjuk chart tu. You could easily send to that desktop, and dia daripada bilik dia dah boleh tengok dah. I did that. and my ketua, Dr. Su, kata, Prof, send je lah, tak payahlah datang. I go and drag her to my room. So, digital immigrant, confirm. Kat rumah macam ni, baca newspaper besar gitu. Anak-anak semua guna digital. Okay. I won't go so much into this. Alright. Yang ni, tadi just kita tengok. We are not interested in the answers anymore. What is important is what is being asked. What is being asked? The students must be trained to have this inquisitive mind. So bila dia tanya, kita galakkan. I was teaching air pollution when suddenly there was an article in the newspaper, quite big, state government yang nak syarikat sementa, there was some wrongdoing in misappropriation of fund or whatever in sand mining activity. And my students were asking me, what is this outcry about sand mining? And I simply put to them, right? You really interested in sand mining? Yes. So let's forget about air pollution. We're not going to learn air pollution this week. We're going to learn about sand mining from 3 perspectives. Environmental point of view, technology point of view, political point of view. Because that is the question they ask. I want to encourage them to ask questions. But in order for you to be able to do that, you must be up to date with the current knowledge. You must be up to date so that you are prepared to dump whatever that you are teaching now and address their desire to know. Masa dia nak masa tu. You have to address at the time that they are asking. When they are asking, then they are in the mode of receiving. If it's nanti dulu, then they grow away. And then, okay, that day you ask, that day he is no more interested. It is there and then. Okay? So must encourage them to ask questions. Technology won't replace teachers, definitely. But teachers who use technology will probably replace teachers who do not. Yeah. Okay, the flexible curriculum. Yang ini. Now, the flexible curriculum in future, we got to focus more on the outcomes. The outcomes are basically the skill sets the students need. And 30 years ago, it is fine to say that equivalency of a course is based on the content because the amount of knowledge was still limited. It's a lot, but still limited. But after 30 years, the expansion of knowledge was exponential. So there is no way you can go to 2 places, same course, name, the content are exactly the same. Even to find 70% overlap is difficult these days. So what we can do now is basically, we focus more on the outcome. We match the outcome. So that is the reason why I allow cross-discipline courses to be taken. My faculty has started civil engineering, allowing students to take courses from music and to take courses from landscape architecture. I ask them to take courses from hotel catering, bakery. That was spontaneous of me. But the dean was more strategic. He said, tak boleh, Prof. Hotel kat Puncak Alam. So he has to offer in the vicinity here. So makes sense. Because I was giving the example. Civil engineering, we mix concrete. Sand, aggregate, cement, water, we start mixing. Then we make the wall. After that, we plaster. Why not allow them to take bakery? They mix dough, bake the cake. When it's ready, icing. So there will be aesthetic evaluation on the icing. Sini analogy the aesthetic evaluation on the plastering. There will be organizational skill, preparing the material, similarly preparing the ink. So the skill sets are the same. Betul tak? Now take a look. Those people who become managers from engineering, from business, from accounting, it is the skill set, not the training of the discipline, not the content of the discipline. So what is wrong if they take up theatre? There will be organizational skill, there will be teamwork, there will be leadership. Betul tak? And of course, if they are doing civil engineering, I will limit to about 9 to 12 credit hours out of 130. I'm not saying that you do civil engineering, you can take 50 credit hours of music. What I'm saying is allow them to go to other faculties, they meet out. Yeah? At least they will marry somebody outside there. The chances will be there. Otherwise, you marry civil engineer and civil engineer, they go back and they talk about mixing concrete. The future generation nak jadi apa? Yeah? So, if you want to have mobility program, then you eliminate the mapping of content. And I'm working on this at NQA as well, so that the regulators will accept the equivalency of a course is basically based on the outcomes. You are telling me that people doing music, they don't learn leadership? Are you telling me people doing architecture, they don't learn teamwork? They don't learn organization? Every discipline, they will have to instill this. So it is the skill set. The content is just incidental. It so happened concrete. It so happened timber. But, so we have to open up our mind a little bit to allow for this flexibility. Okay? Interdisciplinary mobility, and then some of it must be relevant to society. This is why I say that if you teach English, can you take the Sustainable Development Goal as the substance to teach? Tapi yang dia punya apa? The things that you have to do is English, but the content is on renewable energy. So at least you are teaching them global issues. Then you have this online learning, MOOCs and all this. Our blended learning is nothing more than just uploading your PowerPoint. It has to be interactive. Students kan suka main game. So that's why we talk about gamification in your lecture notes. So nak buat game tu yang tak erti tu. So this is where you got to enroll yourself on MOOCs on how to make games or whatever. It is available. This sort of thing is available. So if you yourself do not go onto MOOCs to learn how to be a student in MOOCs, how can you design a MOOC? Dia takkan reti punya. So balik nanti pergi dekat MOOCs, enroll in any one of the courses. There are a lot of courses on teaching and learning. So enroll yourself in one of those courses, and then you see how interactive, how they monitor progress. And when you want to develop your own MOOCs, you have an idea what to do. Work-based. Work-based, either bring people from the industry or you have some sort of work-based learning, put them in the industry. Okay. This is what I'm talking about, Sustainable Development Goal. If you're teaching a general subject, this sebenarnya kan, if you talk about this, kalau macam yang ada TITAS, TITAS can actually take one of these. You talk about no hunger from the Islamic point of view, you discuss. You talk about social responsibility, you talk about equality, you talk about zakat, you talk about all this. It can be done. Tapi kita masalah dia TITAS, ambil lah kitab-kitab lama tu lagi. I'm not saying kitab-kitab lama tu tak ni. Kitab lama tu dia punya framework, contoh, application, it has to be current. It has to be current. It has to be contemporary. Okay? Then another one, if you don't like sustainable development goal, these are the grand challenge for the world. Dia ada overlap juga. So you can use this. Satu, you upgrade yourself in terms of knowledge. You make yourself more knowledgeable on these aspects. So grand challenge. So this is all the PowerPoint which I have left on the desktop at the beginning. So nanti you can make available to make available ni Rozila bukan fotokopi bagi bagi link aja dia download. Link aja download. Dah download tu apa? Baca and then adapt that to your particular area of subject. Right. So teaching and learning, teaching 1.0 kita cerita apa? The traditional education system. 2.0 we go on problem-based learning, that sort of things. 3.0 is the network. pedagogy. I mentioned this in my amanat tahun baru, and after that baru minister pick up the term. Dia masuk dalam dia punya ministry framework, ya. So we got to do this. Okay, 4 essential rules in 21st century learning. Number 1, instruction should be student-centered. Education should be collaborative. Learning should have context, not just ini teori. Context is how do we apply this? Apply with wisdom. When you do research, apa dia? Bermula dengan ambil data. Raw data, is it useful? You analyze, translate into graph. When you translate that now becomes information. When you put meaning to that information, you put a theory to that information, you put a principle to that, then it becomes knowledge. How you translate that into practice, then that is wisdom. So dia kena bawa ke tahap learning should have context to the level of knowledge and wisdom. To the level of knowledge and wisdom. Schools should be integrated with the society. Should be integrated with society. Society meaning what? Society, businesses, industry, termasuk semua. So that would be the conclusion of the 21st century learning. Concluding remarks. CEO Nokia kata apa? We didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost. They were complacent. Other people were moving to the next phase, and then suddenly they found they are no longer relevant. Remember what I said? Netflix, Uber, Airbnb, yang tak ada tadi Google. We may carry on doing the same thing with physical, apa orang kata, campus and all this, but if we fail to change, to deliver what is needed in the industry, then we will be like this. We will be like this. We will become no longer relevant. Okay, we are part of an exciting phase of transformation as educators. Most of us digital immigrant. We need to embrace this transformation and become the change agent that is needed to ensure successful outcome of this transformation. So we are fortunate to be working in this era. Okay, time to wake up. Now, dia bukan physically wake up yang ni. Wake up in the mind that we have to change. Okay, double meaning. Okay, thank you very much.